Have you ever felt an unexplainable stirring deep inside? A quiet voice whispering that you were made for more than just routines and survival? You wake up, go through the motions, check tasks off a list, and lay your head down at night with an uneasy feeling that life is passing you by. Days turn into months, months into years, and somewhere along the way, your dreams gather dust on the shelf of your mind. You watch others grow, achieve, and transform, and a part of you aches, wondering why you feel stuck in the same patterns, repeating the same mistakes, and carrying the same fears. Maybe you've convinced yourself it's too late, too difficult, or too risky to change. Maybe you've learned to silence that inner urge to evolve, telling yourself that this version of you is good enough, even if your heart knows otherwise. But what if the voice inside you is right? What if you are not meant to live confined by old stories, regrets, or self-doubt? What if hidden within you are untapped strengths, ideas, and passions waiting to break free and rewrite your future? The truth is, personal transformation isn't for a chosen few. It's for anyone brave enough to believe they can be more than yesterday's limitations. It's not about changing who you are at the core. It's about shedding what no longer serves you so the real you can stand tall, unfiltered, and unstoppable. Imagine waking up tomorrow knowing that every step, every choice, every thought brings you closer to your highest self. This isn't a fantasy. It's possible. But only if you decide to unlock the keys within you. The question is, will you open the door or stay in the hallway of unrealized potential? Every person at some point senses the need to become better than they were yesterday. It might start as a quiet nudge when looking in the mirror, or a restless feeling during sleepless nights, wondering, is this really all there is for me? Deep down, we all crave a life that feels meaningful, fulfilling, and true to who we are meant to be. Yet, for many, this desire stays locked inside because the path to real change seems overwhelming or unclear. We find ourselves caught between who we are and who we want to be, battling old habits, fears, and doubts that whisper, we can do it. Personal transformation is not reserved for the elite, the privileged, or the naturally gifted. It is available to anyone willing to take an honest look at themselves and say, I want more for my life, and I am ready to do what it takes. It is not about changing our core identity, but about discovering it, polishing it, and letting it shine without the dust of past mistakes and limiting beliefs. Real transformation doesn't happen overnight. It isn't found in quick fixes or trendy self-help slogans. It is a deliberate, sometimes uncomfortable process that demands courage, patience, and a clear commitment to growth. Many people start this journey with excitement but give up when challenges come or when old habits fight back. That's why understanding what truly fuels lasting transformation is essential. It begins with self-awareness, recognizing where we are, accepting it without shame, and envisioning where we want to go. It requires a vision that pulls us forward, even when our circumstances scream otherwise. Along the way, discipline becomes our loyal companion, ensuring that actions line up with intentions and that excuses do not win the battle. At its heart, transforming oneself means taking back the power we often hand over to others, circumstances, or the past. It means deciding that life will no longer just happen to us, but instead we will shape it deliberately, aligning our daily choices with a greater purpose. It is a lifelong commitment to become students of our own minds, protectors of our vision, and guardians of our potential. While it is true that the journey can be daunting, it is far more painful to remain unchanged, weighed down by regret, wondering what could have been. The promise of personal transformation is not perfection, but progress. The kind of progress that brings freedom, joy, and the satisfaction of living true to one's calling. Everywhere you look, people are searching for ways to change their lives. From self-help books lining the shelves to motivational videos flooding social media, the hunger for personal growth is undeniable. Yet, despite all this information and inspiration, countless individuals still feel stuck, repeating the same mistakes year after year. They wake up with good intentions, make promises to themselves, and even start strong, but somewhere along the road, old habits pull them back like an invisible chain. The problem isn't that people don't want to change, it's that they often don't understand what truly keeps them from transforming from the inside out. One of the biggest challenges is the battle within the mind. Thoughts shape actions, and actions shape life's outcomes. Yet most people never pause to question the beliefs that run on autopilot every day. They accept negative self-talk, carry wounds from past failures, and allow fear of the unknown to dictate their decisions. This mental clutter suffocates their ability to dream boldly and act courageously. Over time, they convince themselves that meaningful change is only for others, for the lucky, the talented, or those with more resources. Another obstacle is the lack of clarity. Many people feel a sense of dissatisfaction but cannot clearly define what they really want from life. Without a clear vision, it's impossible to stay motivated when challenges arise. They drift, hoping life will somehow change by itself. But without a destination, every step feels pointless, and distractions easily steal time and energy. Even for those who know what they want, discipline becomes a constant test. In a world of instant gratification, staying committed to long-term goals feels hard and often lonely. Temptations to procrastinate or settle for quick comfort derail progress. Each small compromise weakens confidence, and soon old patterns reappear stronger than before. Then there's the external noise, critics, naysayers, and environments that do not support growth. Sometimes friends or family, though well-meaning, discourage new pursuits because they fear change themselves. Society can pressure individuals to conform, to fit in, to avoid rocking the boat, surrounded by voices that say, "Be realistic." Many abandon their dreams quietly, believing that aiming high will only lead to disappointment. The real tragedy is that the greatest potential often dies unused. Ideas that could have inspired others never see daylight. Talents meant to solve problems remain hidden, and the world misses out on what only that person could have offered. The true challenge, then, is not merely dreaming about a better life, but conquering the inner and outer barriers that hold transformation hostage. Without confronting these obstacles directly, personal change remains a wish rather than a reality. To break free from cycles that limit growth, a person must first understand that transformation is built on a foundation of self-awareness. Knowing oneself honestly is not just about recognizing strengths, but also about facing weaknesses without excuses. It means pausing long enough to ask, why do I think this way? Why do I react like this? Why do I keep repeating choices that hurt me? Such questions may feel uncomfortable, but they open the door to real understanding and healing. And once there is clarity about where one stands, the next step is to define a compelling vision of what life could look like. This vision acts like a compass when storms come. It is not enough to say, I want to be better. Better must have shape and color, clear enough that it can be described in detail and imagined vividly. This mental picture creates the emotional fuel needed to endure discomfort and resist temptation when old habits call. However, vision alone is powerless without discipline. Discipline is the daily decision to act in alignment with that vision, even when feelings do not cooperate. It is choosing to get up early to work on a dream before the world makes demands. It is saying no to distractions that promise pleasure now but cost progress later. Discipline is not a feeling but a commitment, a promise made to oneself and kept in secret when no one is watching. Renewing the mind is another vital part of true growth. Old beliefs often block new progress. For example, someone may dream of starting a business, yet deep down believe they are not smart enough to succeed. No matter how many plans they write, that hidden belief will sabotage them. Changing such beliefs requires feeding the mind new truths and guarding it against negative influences. Books, wise mentors, uplifting environments, and intentional silence can help rewire thoughts for success. Another aspect of development is surrounding oneself with supportive people. Transformation is hard to sustain in isolation. Having accountability partners, inspiring friends, or mentors can make the journey lighter. These people speak truth, celebrate progress, and remind one of the vision when doubt clouds it. Action turns dreams into reality. Small, consistent steps matter more than grand but infrequent bursts of motivation. A single habit done daily has the power to build confidence and create momentum. Over time, these small victories accumulate into major breakthroughs. Exploring and practicing these keys does not remove all obstacles, but they equip a person to rise above them. Transformation then becomes less about force and more about alignment. Thoughts, actions, and surroundings, all pointing toward the life one truly desires. There comes a moment in every journey of transformation when the choice must be made to step beyond theory and into courageous action. This moment is not marked by grand applause or perfect conditions. Instead, it usually arrives quietly, often when no one else is watching. It appears when a person stands face to face with their old self, the version held back by fear, doubt, and excuses, and realizes that remaining unchanged is far more painful than facing the unknown. This is the turning point where desire turns into decision. Perhaps it is the morning when the alarm rings and for the first time in years the snooze button is ignored because purpose now outweighs comfort. Or the evening when instead of numbing the mind with distractions, the person chooses to sit in silence, write plans, or learn a new skill. Sometimes it is the brave conversation with someone who has always doubted them. The moment they say, "I am not who I was. Watch who I become." These moments feel small but carry the weight of destiny because they prove to the mind that change is real and possible. Doubt and fear do not vanish overnight. Even at this crucial point, old thoughts may whisper, "You can't do this. You will fail like before." But now, armed with self-awareness, a clear vision, and new habits, the individual does not surrender so easily. Instead, they remind themselves that transformation is not about never falling, but about getting up one more time than they fall. Each time, they choose action over procrastination, discipline over impulse, hope over fear. They rewrite the story of their life in real time. This defining moment often reveals unexpected strength. The person begins to notice how decisions that once felt impossible now feel natural. They become more protective of their time, more selective with their relationships, and more intentional about their thoughts. They see setbacks not as reasons to quit, but as lessons that sharpen them for the next step. They realize that the environment does not have the final say. Their mindset does. Standing at this crossroads, they understand that they hold the key to the door they have been staring at for so long. Opening it is not easy, and walking through it may mean leaving behind people, habits, or comforts that once felt safe. But on the other side lies the freedom to live as the person they were meant to be. At this climax, the gap between potential and reality begins to close. Not because the world changed, but because they finally did. Reaching the end of the path to transformation is not about crossing a finish line. It is about embracing a new way of living that continues to evolve every day. True personal change is not a single decision, but a series of decisions repeated over and over until the new way of thinking and acting becomes a natural part of who a person is. It begins with courage, grows with discipline, and sustains itself through constant awareness and commitment. What starts as small, uncomfortable steps eventually becomes a lifestyle where excuses lose their power and purpose takes the lead. By now, it is clear that transformation does not depend on perfect circumstances, endless motivation, or the approval of others. It depends on an unwavering choice to become the person one was always capable of being. It demands honesty about past failures, but also grace to forgive oneself and move forward. It requires learning to silence the noise of doubt and instead trust that progress, no matter how slow, is worth celebrating. The journey also teaches that setbacks are not evidence of failure, but proof of effort. Each obstacle faced and each temptation resisted builds resilience. With each day lived intentionally, a person becomes more skilled at catching the thoughts that used to control them and replacing them with ideas that build confidence and inspire action. It is not about striving for perfection, but rather about progress and alignment with one's true self. Looking back, one realizes that the biggest barrier was never the outside world, but the limitations in the mind and the fear of stepping beyond what felt familiar. Once that fear is confronted and managed, the doors that seemed locked for years swing open, revealing opportunities, relationships, and growth that once seemed impossible. One of the most rewarding parts of genuine transformation is how it impacts others. People notice when someone lives with purpose and discipline. It inspires friends, family, and even strangers to question their own limits and dare to change. The ripple effect can reach far beyond what anyone could measure, creating a legacy that outlives the individual and uplifts entire communities. In the end, transformation is a gift one gives to oneself, but its benefits spread outward in ways no one can fully predict. It turns an ordinary life into a testimony of what is possible when someone refuses to settle. Choosing to unlock one's potential, nurture vision, and guard daily habits is a promise to live fully and leave this world better than it was found. That is the power and beauty of a life transformed. Now that you understand what true personal transformation demands, the next move is entirely yours. Nothing will change until you decide to act on what you know. Take a deep breath and remind yourself. You do not have to wait for tomorrow, next week, or some perfect moment. The perfect moment is an illusion. The only time you own is right now. Begin today by taking a single, deliberate step toward the person you want to become. Write down the vision that keeps echoing in your mind. Be clear, be specific, and make it so vivid that reading it stirs excitement and courage in you, even on your worst days. Next, choose one habit that supports that vision and commit to practicing it daily, no matter how small it seems. Small, steady steps create the strongest momentum. If you want to be healthier, drink a glass of water first thing each morning. If you want to build discipline, wake up just 15 minutes earlier and spend that time reading something uplifting or planning your day. Surround yourself with people who encourage your growth rather than drain your energy. Have honest conversations with those close to you about your desire to change. Set healthy boundaries if needed, And seek out communities, books, or mentors that inspire you to keep going. Protect your mind from negativity, gossip, and anything that feeds doubt. Celebrate your progress, even if others don't see it yet. Acknowledge each small win because they add up and shape your new reality. If you stumble, don't wait for motivation to return. Pick yourself up immediately and remind yourself why you started. You owe it to yourself to live fully, not halfway. Share your journey if you feel brave enough. Tell someone your goals so they can hold you accountable. Inspire others, not by preaching, but by living proof that change is possible. Be patient and kind to yourself. Transformation is not about speed, but consistency. Promise yourself today that you will not reach the end of your life wondering what could have been. Promise to unlock every gift, every idea, every ounce of greatness within you. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. The future version of you is waiting, and it all begins with a simple choice right now. Act.